Today, we're going to recap our runaway to the Northwest.
So this is our story on how we explored 5 states in 2 summers in 2 different homes on wheels.
Let's go.
We started our journey to the Northwest in the summer of 2021 while still traveling in our beloved bus conversion, Lady May. In late spring, we cranked her gas-guzzling diesel engine and crossed into our first state, Wyoming. Wyoming was a wild stay, but it was also a short stay. We explored deep down dirt roads, made some great memories with friends, and were engulfed by spring wildflowers. It literally felt like we were living in the Sound of Music. While we felt like we could explore here all summer, we felt an unignorable call to our next land. This land was Montana. It's no surprise that the state named after the Spanish word for mountain had some of the most majestic hills we had ever seen. The mountains felt wise and full of energy that could leave you breathless every time you looked up. But just like Montana's mountains and valleys, our time here was a story of ups and downs. We took the most incredible backpacking trip that we could ever imagine. No, seriously, still to this date, this was our favorite hike, and it's in a part of Montana you've likely never heard of, but we'll make you dig through our channel to find the video of where it was. The highs of hikes like these were balanced by being chased through the state by wildfires. We had to leave our sites 3 times in 3 totally different regions of the state, all because of wildfires. But as the wildfire season slowed, we made it to one of our bucket list destinations. Now, as much as we appreciate the national parks, we don't often visit them because it's difficult with our animals, and we prefer to enjoy nature surrounded by less people. But for Glacier National Park, we would make an exception, and we're sure happy we did. Like its nickname, the region is truly the crown of the continent. Shortly after, the fear of getting eaten by a grizzly bear started to take its toll on us, so we decided to move on.
Oregon, the land of scenic coastline, trees that tower in the mountains, and well, of course, the trees that tower in greenhouses. We parked up under Mount Hood and were in awe. Now, I'm not going to dig too deep into this hippie woohoo, but the energy that this volcanic beauty emitted was something that cannot be put into words. If you don't believe in all that hoopla, chances are you'll still be pretty darn impressed with the views. We made time to pick some apples, which as upstate New York natives, we are hard to impress. After doing some hiking and some chasing waterfalls, we made our way down to the mountain into the wild lands of Portland. A quick tour, and we were off to continue west to achieve a major milestone. We started this journey on the Atlantic coast of Florida, and now have made it all the way to the Pacific coast in Oregon. We played beach bum, explored the quaint towns, and fell in love with such scenic coastline. Quickly, the rain began to tire us, and we decided it was time to leave. We made a brief stop with friends and moved out of the region to conclude our first summer in the Northwest.
Now don't worry, this isn't the end. We still have 2 more states and a totally different home.
And our favorite state is yet to come.
In the early summer of 2022, we completed the build of our new home, and we said our goodbyes to our first home on wheels. We then drove towards a region that would quickly become one of our absolute most favorite places in the US. More well known for its famous potatoes, Idaho rarely makes the list of top places to go, but in our journey, we showed you why it should be. We entered the Sawtooth Mountains and immediately fell in love with the rocky peaks and some of the most pristine rivers and lakes we had ever seen. We bathed in rivers fed by melting glaciers, fished for wild trout, and got about as close to homesteading as you can, living in a moving home. After descending into the Sawtooth Valley, we made some new friends, had quite a few beers, and set up camp in a parking lot. But this is Idaho, so this was about the prettiest parking lot that you could ever wake up in. We later found ourselves at a lake lodge that seemed to be straight out of a stereotypical American summer vacation movie. We finally got our backpacking trip in, jumped into Turquoise Lakes, and we just could not believe how much this region kept impressing us. So much so that we self-proclaimed it the most underrated part of the US. After 2 months in the Sawtooths, it was time to move on. But not out of Idaho. No, but to an area that we named the Hot Spring Highway. 10 of these geothermal hot tubs in just 90 miles, and we brought you to 4 of them. We then rated them for you on a scale of hot or not. We were lucky to have these moments of zen, because just down the road, we're about to have the toughest month of van life we have ever endured.
The plan was to breeze through our return to Oregon on our way to Washington. But the road gods planned differently. A puddle of transmission fluid, and we were stranded in a national forest parking lot. A mobile mechanic helped us get it fixed up and back on the road, but fix is a loose term, as the tale of the old leaky transmission is still with us today. Hell's Itch, 110 degrees, and reckless locals, welcome to Washington. Do you know what Hell's Itch is? Well, trust me, you don't want to. Do you know that you could have snow-capped volcano towering over you while suffering through scorching 110-degree weather? Yeah, us either. And what is it with people trashing the public land that's in their backyards and ignoring all fire bans? That's something we'll never understand. Through these immediate challenges, we tried to stay positive. But then, we got chased out in the middle of the night by gunshots. And yes, the tale of that leaky transmission returned. It was time for a reset. We beelined for the coast and tried our best to forget the previous month. Fresh seafood and crashing ocean waves certainly helped. This was also a time of firsts. We drove our home on the beach for the first time, put it on a ferry for the first time, and van lifed in a big city for the first time. Although, I don't know if you'd call it van life, or just 48 hours of endless eating. Seattle marked the end of our runaway to the Northwest.
Now, while this is the end of our runaway to the Northwest, it's not the end of our runaway series.
Welcome to Runaway Baja! Woo!